I'm the head teacher of the IEC, and head teacher at an IEC is quite a different role to that of other head teachers in high schools. It's much more like a principal's role because you're dealing with all of the aspects of the student from enrolment through to graduation. First and foremost, our student population is 100% EALD. So they're all newly arrived students and they will come to us for assessment within the first 6 months of arrival. So our program is purely aimed towards supporting EALD students, their progression in English language proficiency, but also acculturating them to Australian educational systems. Very multicultural. At the moment we've got 64 students and they're from 21 different countries. So we have a range of students from different backgrounds, so they might be from a refugee background, or they could be students who have migrated here with their parents. It could be parents who have perhaps remarried to an Australian citizen, and so the students are coming over as part of that resettlement process. Could be parents who are studying at UOW, and so their students will attend. So it's a really broad mix of cultures and also of backgrounds and reasons for being here. The simple answer is not a lot of support. We support them to transition to the high school. So we run an integration program every term. One of the other differences with the IEC and other high schools is that our students graduate, or they will leave us every term. So they're here for a particular period of time according to their visa status, their English language proficiency, but every term students will leave and they will go to their destination high school. So our support is in preparing them for that process, and they will spend a week in the school. We liaise with each of the destination schools, providing reports, providing some background information. But realistically, once they've actually left the IEC and moved on to their new destination school, that's not the end of our relationship, but we leave it then. It's the schools themselves that will support the students in their new setting. They have a very specialist role. All of our teachers' aides are bilingual. At the moment we have teachers' aides who are bilingual in Thai, in Mandarin, in Burmese languages, or Karenni in different Burmese languages, Turkish, Arabic. So depending on the student context that we have here, that's how we will try to recruit our SLSOs or teachers' aides. And their role is not just about translating, but it's very much community-based as well. So they're like a link between students and school. They'll make the phone calls home, but they often bring important cultural knowledge and sensitivities to the role. So it's a quite unique role, the bilingual SLSO at an IEC. First and foremost is expertise in EALD pedagogy. And just an understanding and responsiveness to the resettlement experience that our students are encountering. I think at an IEC you need to be extremely flexible because our numbers fluctuate so significantly. And so from one term to the next, we have students arriving and students leaving, and that can actually mean a difference in the number of teachers who are employed, the programs that we run, the classes that they get. So a teacher can't ever be guaranteed that they've got the same class for the year or the same composition of students for the year. So with this constant influx of students, they do have to be very flexible in their teaching programs. And but yeah, most importantly is that sensitivity and understanding of the needs of students in arriving in Australia. We we're a bit of a hybrid between high school and primary schools, really, in that we have a homeroom and the English teacher will spend up to half of their teaching week with the same group of students. And that's done very deliberately because one of the most important things in resettlement, particularly when students are from a traumatised background, is building a relationship of trust. And so when they can trust their teacher and they have a really positive relationship with their teacher, it's at that point that they can start to kind of relax and learn. So yeah, there's a lot of well-being with all teachers, but certainly with IEC teachers, well-being is an important consideration. To truly support your ELD learners in a mainstream setting, you do need to have strong leadership and commitment to that. So it's top-down. You need to support your own teachers across all KLAs and having understandings of EALD pedagogy and literacy strategies. And according to CC, one of the successful implementations of EALD support is through distributed leadership. So that's where across the school you have a range of people who take responsibility for those aspects, not just your ELD teacher and not just your learning support teacher, but across faculties and across the school. I think the most important thing is not to think of it as a deficit model. It's not what they don't have, it's actually what they're bringing that's extra. They have this additional language to support their studies, so they are all learning at least one, if not more, languages. And not to assume that because they can't speak English properly that they don't have that background knowledge as well. So embracing them as bringing a really rich background to your lessons and to your classroom, I think, is the starting point. I think in a practical level, in terms of teaching, it really depends on the context, because you might be in a school that has a lot of ELD students, or you might be in a school that has few ELD students, and that might change your approach. But I think as a very general sense, I think if teachers can embrace the teaching and learning cycle and start to learn more about ELD pedagogy, that explicit teaching of literacy is so helpful for ELD students, but it's extremely helpful and beneficial for all of your students. So a really explicit and considered teaching model will be of benefit to all students, and many of the aspects that are described as successful teaching practices for mainstream, they're all embedded in ELD pedagogy.